growing global condemnation of the eSwatini government's crackdown on pro-democracy protesters. All the country's schools have now been closed after children joined the weeks-long call for democratic reforms in the kingdom. The United Nations Secretary-General's office also calling for the people of eSwatini to be allowed to peacefully exercise their civil and political rights. I'm joined now by Lukhele of the Swaziland Solidarity Network. Thank you so much for joining us. Could you tell us what is happening in eSwatini at the moment regarding the protests?
Well, good evening, Sally, and the viewers at home. What is happening in Swaziland is that you will understand that way back in June up until July, the people of Swaziland have been on the streets demanding democratization. But it started from a point where the police killed a young student, Taban Gomonye, which then escalated into the broader demands by the people of Swaziland. And soon later, the king deployed the army that killed more than 100 of the people of Swaziland. More than 250 were hospitalized. This has escalated. Yeah, this is in June and July, yes. And this has now escalated into the public sector transport, students in all school, which then resulted in the king abruptly closing the school in fear that this will escalate into a completely shutdown in the country, of which the leadership of the progressive forces in Swaziland have called for the students to dress in their uniform and go to school. And as soon as they arrive in schools, they must join the protest action. One of them is tomorrow in Babane, as the two incarcerated MPs will be appearing in court for
All right, so can you, okay, yes, and these are the two MPs who've been incarcerated. Talk to me about this recent spate, the last couple of weeks. We've heard that one person has died in the protest, and that happened last week, I think. What reports are you getting about injuries and even deaths? Or are things calm at the moment?
Well, it's not calm. The numbers of people that are being victimized by the police, it keeps on growing. That I can confirm is that it has now gone beyond 10 recent killings, and more are injured. I'm unable to assist in terms of the number, because what the police are doing, as soon as they shoot you, they then try to conceal the evidence immediately. For instance, one barbaric behavior that they did, they shot down one of the conductors of the transport union, and they took him straight to the police station, where they forcefully cut him deep to remove the bullet. And only then they called an ambulance. So, like I've indicated, that the number could be even much more higher, because many people are still missing. No one knows where they are whereabouts. And when their families go to this police station to open the missing person cases, the police are refusing to investigate. Clearly, it then tells us that they know something.
So we're hearing, Amnesty International has voiced their concern from the United Nations. The Secretary-General's office is also voicing concern. But talk to me about where you're getting most of your support and what the region is saying, if anything.
Well, we warmly welcome the recent statement of yesterday by the Secretary-General of the United Nations. At least it clarifies the unfortunate statement earlier released by the resident ambassador of UN in Swaziland, which he put the blame on the protesters. We also welcome the support and also the condemnation by all organizations, including Amnesty International. Amnesty International has always been on the side of the victims across the globe. However, we must indicate that the silence or the inactive of the SADC region, in particular now that South Africa is the chairperson of Troika, is very unfortunate and somehow embarrassing, not only to these leaders, but also to the citizens of this region. That's a reason why, for instance, you have a crisis in Mozambique that was allowed to happen up until opportunists took advantage of it. In Rwanda, for instance, you will remember that in 1994, people were killed in thousands because of the complicity of these African leaders. It is time that the be proactive and act decisively, especially South Africa, because it's 90%, Swaziland is 90% dependent on business in South Africa. So South Africa has a lot to lose if they allow the situation to continue. King Mswati is a candidate of the criminal court, International Criminal Court. He has massacred people. So there's no doubt, there's no debate. He cannot sit and dialogue with the people of Swaziland. He has lost that space.
Thank you very much for updating us on the situation in eSwatini. That is Lukhele of the Swaziland Solidarity Network.